Well, happy Friday, everyone. There we go with a live lookout. This is the Kansas Speedway looking, look, the sky's on fire tonight. We have a beautiful sunset. Sunset officially is right now, right at 7:09. And we've got NASCAR in town. Looks better this time than it did earlier this year. The last time that they were here, we had some rain. We've actually got some good weather this weekend, so I'm going to set you up for that. First, we're going to talk about this horrific hurricane. I mean, this was a full-on tragedy. It was a horrible storm, and multifaceted, too, with its impacts. I mean, from being a really bad hurricane wind-wise, storm surge, and then the rain with it, to the inland impacts well away from the coast. All of them were bad, bad, bad. So I'll show you some of the stats that this storm had set, some of the records that it had set, and also bring it back home with the Royals. They're in Atlanta. Atlanta has been hit very hard. We've got a game tonight. Let's look at this. All right, so first off, there we go. So it's no longer a hurricane. This is what we call, the fancy term is a post-tropical cyclone. It's a normal storm now. It's lost all its hurricane characteristics. It's just a big, powerful, regular low-pressure system at this point. But it's a really big one and a really powerful one, too. So this is what it had done. It was the 8th Category 4 or 5 strike on the U.S. in 8 years. That last 8 years, and those number of strikes, is the same as the prior 57 years. So that highlights how incredibly active the past decade has been as far as hurricane strikes on the U.S. It was also the strongest strongest hurricane on record to make landfall in that part of Florida, the Big Bend. 140-mile-per-hour Category 4 storm, and then it set a bunch of surge records as well. So this was near 10 feet in a lot of these spots, from Cedar Key to, if you're familiar with the Tampa area, Clearwater Beach, really bad storm surge there. And that wasn't the worst of it. The worst of it was actually up in the Big Bend of Florida, near Steinhatchee and places like that, where it could have been 20 feet. We'll wait and see what the official numbers are after they get released by the Hurricane Center, but that is top-tier storm surge, and that was one of the big threats with the storm. That's why the storm surge was described as unsurvivable by the National Hurricane Center. And unfortunately, the storm has taken 30-plus lives already. So part of that is from historic flooding. So once this storm got inland, it drug a whole bunch of tropical moisture with it, and there was rain, ongoing heavy rain, for a couple days before the storm ever rolled in. So as you look at some of these spots, you see these stripes and swaths of really heavy rain, 2.5 feet of rain in some spots. This is generational flooding, 1 in a 1,000-year kind of event in some parts of the western Carolinas. I'm zooming in on Atlanta because it's, again, where the Royals are. They set an all-time record for 2-day rainfall at a foot. They got a foot of rain in Atlanta. And I put this black dot there. That's where the airport is. That's where the record was set. The Royals are playing here at Truist Park. They only got a half a foot of rain. But if you've been to Atlanta, you know it's hilly. And even though there were water rescues and flash flood emergencies, and it's still underwater in a big chunk of the Atlanta metro, where they're playing baseball, I suppose, is good enough and dry enough for them to be able to get the game off. I am blown away. I did not expect that. So, again, just horrible. So let's show you what the storm's doing now. This is what's left of it. All right, so it's big. It's a 35-mile-per-hour regular storm. Winds have come down. Still spreading a lot of rain on the west side of it at the moment. Let's go here because the rain around Atlanta has really lifted out, and where the worst of that flooding in the Carolinas has been, rain has lifted out. But still, they have the highest possible alert, even though it's not raining, of a flash flood warning, catastrophic, imminent, life-threatening. That they had so much rain, and it's in a hilly area that it's still like dams are in trouble. And I mean, water rescues are ongoing, and we don't really know how bad it is in some of these spots. Look at Asheville, North Carolina. You got to look up some of the video from there. They got as bad as anything on the coast. It's just horrific. Meanwhile, back here, let's bring it back home. You can see the rain that we got in southeast Missouri, so the rain deck was close. We're on the very far western fringes of Helene, and here in Kansas City, we got the clouds and a little bit of a breeze out of it. That was about it. So let's show you your weekend, get you set for that, and we'll kind of walk through everything. The weekend looks good. It's going to be warm. So Saturday, we're going to be in the low 80s, breezy at times. I'll show you why here in a second. And then Sunday, 81. Both days in the low 80s. This is actually more typical of early to mid-June than early fall, so it's a little warm for this time of year. But plans outside look good to go. All right, no rain to worry about. Now, the wind field from what used to be a hurricane, this Helene, is humongous. We're talking 700 miles wide of the wind field, and we're on the very western edge of that. Not high winds, but we'll feel the breeze tomorrow As you can see, that stripe on the western side of that low pressure bring us to 25, maybe 30 mile per hour wind gusts. That's not bad. You'll still be able to do about anything that you want to do outside, but you just might notice it's a little bit breezy at times. Again, there's the radar. And I was going to show you here locally, but it didn't work. Current conditions are good. We're in the low 70s. We've got a nice Friday night here. North wind at 9. Not as breezy now as it was earlier. That sunset's wild. We've got some really pretty camera views out there. We were warmer northwest, where we had more sunshine. Got to the 80s in northwest Missouri, northeast Kansas. Southeast Missouri, more clouds and didn't get quite as warm. So for our evening here, 70s and 60s, we are dry tonight. Clouds may come and go, but that'll be about it. Tomorrow morning, upper 50s, low 60s. This is kind of warm for this time of year for lows. Normals in the low 50s, and that sets the table for, again, a warm afternoon. So NASCAR, again, last time they were here earlier this year, it was rain, which if you've ever gone to a race and you've got to wait for them to dry the track, it's just, come on, let's get going. They don't have to worry about that this time. So if you're going to be out at NASCAR, got a good day. Upper 60s at 10, top it out in the low 80s by 4. We have a dry forecast. I'll show you the forecast track here. It's going to be sunny for a good chunk of the day. Clouds intermittent, not a pristine blue sky, but a good deal of sunshine for us on Saturday. Here's your highs. Roughly 5 to 10 degrees warmer than today. Should hit about 82 in KC. We'll have some mid-80s in spots, though. Here's your 7-day, and it's a good 7-day forecast. I mean, Sunday, let me show you Sunday. We've got, of course, the Chiefs are away. We've got a 3:25 kickoff. You got a backyard tailgate going on. You're going to be in the low 80s to 70s through much of that. Again, completely dry. Good for the Chiefs to go beat up on the Chargers, win by 1,000. Monday's kind of interesting. We're at 82. So it's warm, almost, again, a little early summery kind of feel before our next fall front drops in. That's going to be Monday night, and we get more of that fall type of feel coming back. That's as we start October, which is Tuesday. So a high of 70, and then we'll drop back to the 40s by Tuesday night. So a little bit of a fall chill by Wednesday morning, and then it pops right back up. I'll get my face off of here, and there you see Thursday and Friday, mid-80s in the forecast. So whatever you like. You probably got something in there except rain. I have a completely dry forecast. So that's the next 7 days for you. I hope that helps with your plans. We've got a good weekend here in the Kansas City area. Get out and enjoy. We'll have updates for you at 10. In the meantime, have a great Friday night. Thanks for joining us.